everyone, it's Diane here from Diane, and today I'd like to show you how I made these cards. This is called a double slider card. How beautiful is that? This is a nice Christmas one, and we're going to do a nice Christmas one today as well. So this stands up like so. You can't see very well, I know. And it has a writing panel on the back here. So this was inspired by a card by Lisa Curcio. She's an American demonstrator, but I just didn't like the fact that it didn't have any way of standing up, and there was nowhere to write unless you put a panel on the back. So I made a stand to go on the back and put my writing panel on the back so that it stands up on its own. That way it can pop up like so, which you can't see very well, and it stays up, so you can actually then just lift it up with your beautiful message that says "May your season sparkle," and it just stands up like so. So we're going to make this one today, but we're going to do it in pink. We're going to do it in Blushing Bride, which is part of the same colour of the colour paper that I've been using. Let me lean forward and I will just get the paper so I can show you what paper it is. There we go. It's called Whimsy Wonder. Serial makeup. And I used this beautiful one with the trees on it for the other one, but we're going to do this one with these beautiful snowflakes in the pink. So that's the card we're going to be doing today. So let me show you what you need. Now I've used a little bit of polished pink here as well, because I just wanted a bit of a contrast with some of this. So don't worry about all the measurements. What did I do with my paper? I left the paper with all the measurements over here. Don't worry about all the measurements today, unless you've got time to stop and start, because over on Di's Den for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials, which is my Facebook group, you'll find the written tutorial for this card, and all the measurements will be on there, and the measurements are in inches as well as centimetres. So our main card measures 11 3/4 by 4 1/8. Okay, so then we need, ooh, I'm all out of order here, our back sliding panel, which will measure 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then our piece of designer series paper that we're going to pop on the top of that, which measures 3 by 3. Our front slider panel measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. Now we've got 2 slider strips. Now these are just strips of scraps of paper that I had, so they're actually in very vanilla, but they're not going to be seen, so I'm not worried about it. You can put them in any colour you like, whatever you've got a bit of scrap on. And these only need to be 1 inch by 3 inches. Then for our front of our card, we need a piece of, and I'm doing this in silver foil, and this measures 4 1/4 by 3 7/8. The 4 1/4 length is the length we're going. Oops, it's got a mark on it, but can't do anything about that. And our designer series paper that's going to go on top of that will measure 3 5/8 by 4 inches. Now I'll probably end up turning that up that way and putting something that goes over that. We'll see as we get there. Okay, for our sentiment, we're going to use a piece that measures 3 1/2 by 1 1/4 inches in the silver, and a piece that measures 1 by 3 1/4 inches in the white for our stamping. This panel here will be whatever size you're using your sentiment for, so just put that in mind. I have a couple of snowflakes that I've cut out here, so I'll pop them on one side. This is our stand piece, which measures 5 5/8 by 4 inches, and then our writing panel that measures 1 3/4 inches by 5 3/8 of an inch. So let's pop all these out of the way like so over here. Whoops, in that order. And I'm using this set called Snowflake Wishes. because I absolutely love it. I just love the set itself, and I'm, you know, just partial to it. So I'm using Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas for our sentiment on the front, and then for inside on the front slider piece, it's May Your Seasons Sparkle. And then for my writing panel on the back, I've got May Your Days Be Merry and Bright. So, and that's from Tidings and Trimmings. I'm going to be stamping in Blushing Bride, and so let's get cracking. Let's pop those out of the way, and let's pop that over here. Bring in the scoreboard, and we're going to score our card on the long side at 5 7/8. And that's all the scoring we're going to do. So we're going to do a bit of measuring now, but we'll fold and burnish our card to make sure that it folds over and it's absolutely perfect when we do this, because we want it to be absolutely perfect. So that's our card. We're going to open it up for the inside. Oh, and a bit of rubbish on the inside of my card. Using my ruler and my pencil, I'm going to measure. We know this card measures 4 1/8. So half of 4 1/8 is 2 1/16. So we're going to just pop a mark at the top and 2 1/16 mark at the bottom here. And we're going to draw a line down the middle of the card. Now it doesn't have to be a dark line, and we're not going to rub them out because we're not even going to see them. So that's the one good thing. We're then going to mark down from the top of this score line here 1 3/4 inches and put another line, and we'll draw a line across at that point there as well. And then we're going to turn it around, and we're going to measure up from the bottom, this open edge here, 1 3/4 inches, and put another mark, and then draw another line here, so that we've got, these are just guidelines, and they're there just for that, for guiding us. We have 2 more lines to make, so we need to put our ruler in the middle somewhere and mark 1/2 inch either side of that middle line, and then draw a line down like so. Okay, so that's all the lines we need to draw, and we are not going to cross them out because we won't see them at all. So I'll rub them out, I mean. So now I'm going to use my labels, classic label punch, only because I have it here and it's easier to do. But if you've got a die, a rectangular die that will fit there, you can do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in, and so that this peak here goes onto that top line, and this section here goes up against this line here. So we're going to punch on the outside of our line that we drew. We need to go all the way to the bottom, so we need to bring that down and do the same, lining it up again, making sure that it's nicely lined up with that line. Where's the bottom line? Like so. I'm a bit wonky here, but these are going to be inside and you won't see them, so it's not a real issue. We're going to do exactly the same from the other end. I'm just not very good at doing things like this on camera, I must admit. I feel a bit nervous because I usually would spend a lot of time getting it right. Okay, so that's our lines. I might just see if I can line that one up a tiny bit better there, just so that that's it, so that it will slide a bit better. Okay, so we've done our lines like this, and then while we've got this here, on this same section, we're going to use our 1 inch circle punch, and we're going to punch a circle, half a circle, or just under half a circle out of that, and you can use that line that you've drawn there to actually guide you to the center of that. But while we've got this open, before we do anything else, we're going to use a piece of scrap here, paper, and we're going to bring this in with our ink pad. If I can get the lid off. Yep, there we go. And I'm going to stamp some snowflakes all the way around it. Now, I don't mind if they go in a bit because we're not going to see them, so, but the more you've got on here, the better. It just sort of gives it a bit more dimension to the picture. Once you get to the end here, you don't want them to go onto the back here, so just fold that up while you do that bottom bit. And it doesn't matter if it's on the inside of that bit there either. So we're going to do this all the way around this card. It does work a lot better when you've got it flatter. But that's going to be on the inside, and you won't see that one that's not stamped out very well anyway. So, and that's our stamping around the outside of the card. So we'll pop that away for now because we're going to be using that again in a little while. And we're going to bring this card back in, and we now want our 2 strips. Now what we want to do is we want to put this strip so that it matches up with the bottom of this piece here, so it doesn't go below that piece there. So if you've got something you can clip it down with, that's great. If not, just turn it over very carefully, or you can do it from this side and do it up. So let's do it from that way, that'll be easier. So we can see that, we bring that down so that they are right down at the bottom there, so they're just off the picture. Now I need my dimensions, which are hiding. That'll be right, wouldn't it? Oh, come on. Get out of there. So I'm going to put one dimension on this side here. I'm just going to try and line them up so they're straight. We don't want it right to the bottom, but we want it fairly close to the bottom. And I'm going to put another one on this side here like so. That way we've still got room to try and move it if we need to. Whoops. So they need to be inside those things there like so. Now they can go right down to the bottom out of the way, and we can pop our other ends off of the dimensions, and we can line this piece up to lay over the top and line up with this edge here, so that now this will line up and go up and down this slide like so. Okay, and that way it's nice and even on both sides. So we've done that, even if I didn't lose half my stuff down the back there. What we're going to do now is going to pop this on one side for a minute, and we're going to work on our first and our second slider. So with our first slider, the back slider as I call it, we're going to pop some glue onto our, why isn't this working? Onto our, there we go, designer series paper. And making sure if you've got a paper that has a direction on it, make sure that your direction is in the landscape with the picture like this. I know this piece is square, so it's easy to turn it around to the right way, but you want the landscape so that the bigger post down here is showing at the bottom. We're now going to, I'll just pop the lid on that for a moment, going to punch a hole with our hole punch in the top of this, and again try and get it fairly central across this way here, and down approximately, I don't know how far down that would be. Let's have a look. Oh, 3/4 of an, no, 3/8 of an inch down, approximately. And oh, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. So now what we're going to do is So we're going to bring this down the bottom here, and we're going to pop this onto here. So we want this so that it doesn't show out the top of the card here. We don't want it poking out the top here. So we want to pop some, this is wider than this, so we can pop a piece of red liner tape, and we really do need to use red liner tape because it is actually stronger and we need something with a fair bit of strength. And we're going to pop that in there like so, making sure that's nice and even down the bottom there. Give that a good burnish off so that it actually stays on there nice and hard. Pull the backing off, get off my fingers, and pop this into the back of the card, lining it up at the top here and making sure that it's even down both the sides before you let it drop down on top of your paper, your tape. That way when it slides, it will slide up like so. Okay. While we've still got our red liner tape here, we will pop our red liner tape along these sides here as well. We want them as close to the edge as we possibly can, because we don't want to go over the top of the card. Making sure that this is not going to go over the slider part, because otherwise the card won't slide. We'll pop another bit down that side there, like so. Come off of there. Oops, get off. That bit got stuck with a bit extra on it. So we can pop that down there like that, like so. Give them a good burnish down, and that's ready to be closed up. We can close it up now if we want, because we're actually finished with that part. So let's close that up. So making sure that this is nice and even in the middle, so that we've got a nice edge down each of the side. Remove our release tape off of our red liner tape. Oops. And close the card up. And as you can see, we're now not going to be able to see any of those drawing lines, so there's really no reason to remove them at all. So we've got that down there nice and neatly, and we can pull this up very carefully like so. While we've got this out like this, we're going to get a bit of ribbon, and I've got this glittered organdy ribbon, and I think we'd only need probably be about 6 inches of it. We don't really need a real lot. Probably won't even need that much by the time we're finished. And we can then thread this through our hole that we've punched in there. If we put our folded edge through from the front to the back, you'll get a much nicer finish on the top of your ribbon. So we need to pop that through there like so. And it's a little bit tight, but it will go. Just don't force it, just ease it through, and pop your tails through from the front to the back like so. Now you don't want to go pulling like this because you will rip your hole. You need to grab one at a time and slowly work it up. Slowly work it so that it comes up and you get a nice finish on the top here. Once you're happy with how far it is up, whoops, get away, we can then finish it off by just trimming off the excess, because it's only there so that the person that gets the card knows that they've got to pull on that. So we can now pop that back down like so. So now we will stamp our front slider panel with our blushing bright, and we're going to do that with the words, "May your seasons sparkle." And it only just fits on there, but that's okay. That's all we need it to, is just fit on there. And now this is going to go on here, but we need to know that it's going to come up. So we need to pop that on like that so that we know that it will come up like so. So So once you're happy with that, what you can do is you can put some red liner tape on the back side of this piece, close to the bottom. And we'll pop it on there again to see roughly where we need it to be, because we want to make sure that it comes up past, the words come up past the card, past this piece of the card here, so that it can be seen. So we know that that's where it's going to go. So let's pop that, while that's up like that, let's pull our tape off the back. Get off my finger tape. And we can pop this on here. That way we know that it's going to be even. And we're happy with that. It's a little bit over. That's better. So it will slide up and down on that slider like so. How clever is that? Look. So let's do the front of the card next, shall we? For the front of the card we need our piece of that's going to go over the top of this, and our designer series paper. So we're going to glue our designer series paper onto our silver foil piece. Now you could use cardstock if you wanted to. You don't have to use silver foil paper. I just wanted to use silver foil paper. And we're going to glue that down onto there. Oops, got a little bit out of the corners there. But when we put this on the front here, we need to pop this up onto some dimensions. Now I'm just going to give that a bit of a trim on that edge. It looks a bit rough on that edge there. It looks like it didn't cut quite straight. There's my nail file. That's better. Oops. So let's put my pin in my glue for a moment. That's it, because it's warm in here today, so it will actually dry up very quickly, and we don't want that. So we're going to pop 4 of the large dimensions, 1 in each corner of our card, like so. And then we're going to pop this onto the front of the card, making sure that we do not get past this. Now we can actually trim this down a tiny bit. If you feel that you want to trim this down, you can actually trim this front one down a bit so that you've got a little bit more room to move, which we'll do in this case, just so that you can see that it doesn't affect it. And then this goes on, and once again, if you've got paper that's directional, I'm going to put that at the top because I'm going to put my snowflake there. So we need to pop that on there like so, and then just check that it's going to slide up. Look at that. Oh, look at that. How beautiful is that? So we're going to do our stamping now for our front sentiment, and we'll do our writing panel at the same time. That way I can pop the ink away out of the way afterwards. So I'm going to use my Snowflake Wishes for this one here on the bottom, and this one that says, which I've got upside down, may your days be merry and bright. While I've got that, I'm going to use this piece of scrap again just to put a few more snowflakes on the edge of this card, at the top and the bottom, like so. Alright, so that's that bit done. So we'll glue this onto here. Glue our saying together. Sentiment for the front of the card together. And while that's just setting a little bit, because on the foil paper it takes a little bit longer, pop the pen back in there for a second. We will work on our stand. Our stand piece of card is the piece that is 4 inches by 5 and 5/8, and we're going to score this on the 4-inch side at the 2-inch mark. Oops, let's get that up the right way. At the 2-inch mark. So now we're going to work out if we want it to open on the left or the right hand side. It doesn't really make any difference. Using our corner rounder, I'm going to round the corner on the edge that's going to be the side that's going to be standing up. Come back. Fold and burnish that score line down, and then on this straight edged piece we're going to pop our glue. And then we're going to glue this to the back of the card, making sure that you've got this at the bottom, which is the closed edge, the rounded edge at the bottom. And then we're going to glue our writing panel up the correct way on the other side. And that's the back of the card done with our writing panel in place. We'll just give that a nice squish down. There we go, and it will stand up like this. Now we're going to just decorate the front. I have a couple of snowflakes here, which I'm going to pop on the card. Now I'll pop one over that, just that stuck to my back of my finger. That was a bit silly, wasn't it? Over that piece there so that it can't be seen, and the other one next to it. Come on, get the backing off. Like so, and then I'll use my other dimensions, my bigger ones. Come here, they've gone missing again, to put my sentiment on the back. Oh, I mean on the front. And I will just pop this. I think I'm going to pop this on an angle, you know that? I reckon I'm going to pop this on a bit of an angle like so. I've got some nice diamantes here, so I'm going to pop them on. I'm going to use these large ones. Pop onto the top of these so they sparkle. That was my stomach that's growling there. And then the last one down the bottom there, like that. And that's our card for today. Look at that, how beautiful is that? I love it. And when you stand, pull that up, that will stay up. So when it's standing, you can leave it so that the beauty of it is all standing out. That's our card for today. If you would like the written tutorial for this, you can head over to Di's Den for stamping, crafting and tutorial. You will find the link down below here, and you'll find the written tutorial for this down there. Plus the YouTube video will be linked to my Facebook group as well, and everything goes live on the same day. So whatever date you're watching, you see on the bottom of the video, that's the same date that you will find for the written tutorial under files. So I hope you've enjoyed today. If I can help you with anything, just let me know, and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.